I'm Shy, the author of How to Catch a Kitten, Kitten, because someone's saying I don't say my T's correctly since I'm from Connecticut. But which hit #1 bestseller on Amazon in 4 hours. So I'm very proud to say that. So thank you for being here in Vegas to hear the seminar. How to Catch a Kitten is, I actually wrote 2 separate books. So if I offend any women, I apologize, but I did write a counter book called How to Land a Rich Man, so they can't be so upset about this book. This book is a little bit closer to my heart than most people realize. What I did was I took stories in my own personal life of the manipulation that men have done to me, and which pretty much pretty far back because I actually married the guy who manipulated me, and it was the most horrible move I've ever done. And I took all the stories of myself and every single one of my girlfriends, which are so mad at me, on how to manipulate a woman to get pretty much whatever you want out of her. And people are like, how in the world is that even possible? In reality, it is possible. And the reason why it's possible is women say, oh, we want such a good guy, we want a nice guy, we want this. And somehow we always go for the biggest jerks and assholes we can ever meet because we're dumb. So I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. But we have a tendency of going and wanting things from people who don't want us. So when men say no to a person, especially a girl like me, I'm like, why is he saying no? Am I not hot enough? Am I not like sexy enough? And you may think a girl's a 10, and in reality we're as insecure as a girl that's not as pretty as us. Because we think, seriously, on a daily basis, why is the guy not talking to us? Why does he not want me? Why is he ignoring me? Do I have something in my teeth? Is my hair not right? Is my makeup not right? Is my body type not right? And it messes with our head. So when I wrote this book, I wrote tactics of how to manipulate a woman to bring her insecurities out so that you can control her fully and mentally. And I know that sounds wrong to the women. I apologize, but it's true. We are so easily manipulated by people who don't want us because it makes us want them way more. So one of the tricks that I wrote was, the more you ignore a woman and act like she's nothing, the more she wants you because she has no idea on why you're saying no. It becomes a game for us, and the power trip of trying to chase the guy to get him to say, I want you. But the reason why I wrote this book as well is, you hear all these pickup artist companies, if you have these so-called one-liners and all these things, if you bat your eyes a certain way, you make fun of the way a girl does things, it works. It doesn't. And they teach you how to do one-on-one pickups with girls walking to the mall, or for girls at the gym. But guess what? Most of us, we're never alone. We have groups of people with us, and there's a reason why. And what I'm going to discuss over the next hour, because I can't discuss the entire book because it'll be at least 6 hours of us speaking, and you'll probably be annoyed out of your mind. I'm going to discuss how women travel in a pack. And I'm going to explain this very well because I actually go out with my girlfriends, and typically we all have our set packs of what our titles are in an evening. So I have a group of girls that I go out with all the time. There's a few sets of girls in the approach. The approach is, there's always the blocker. The girl who cock blocks you left and right and does not let you get to the girl you want. How do you get, and you're like, why the hell do I gotta go and prove myself to some cock blocker who's not letting me get the girl I want? Well, guess what? In my circle, I'm either the hot girl or the cock blocker. So I'm giving you the heads up, the advice I'm giving you is because this is how I block half the guys from getting to my girls in my circle. But every circle has a group of girls. Not a, any questions you guys have throughout this entire time, if you raise your hand, I actually have someone with a microphone. So just raise your hand and I'll bring a microphone and you can ask me any questions, and I'm very blunt and sincere, so I hope you can handle it. So if you don't want to hear the answer, don't ask. So there's different types of girls. There's the blocker. Now, a blocker typically is, the reason why a blocker is around is to protect the girls from making sure none of you guys harass her. Now, there's two types of blocker. There's the really ugly blocker. The ugly friend that you keep around who basically makes sure that no one's around. And the problem with the ugly blocker is that tendency, she's pretty much jealous. So even if you were a good guy, her jealousy of being next to the hot girl is gonna make her say, yeah, he's not good enough. You can't talk to him. No, you're not allowed in our circle. And I know that I do that so much. And then there's the hot blocker, which doesn't really happen very often, which is me. And typically we do that because we're mama. We're like the protector. We make sure that the girls get home safe. Then there's the conservative girl. Everybody knows that girl. The girl who's dressed up all dainty. She goes to the club with all the girls. She's a little bit submissive. She doesn't really want to get out of her circle. But believe it or not, that girl can be wild. You just don't know it because you're not in her bedroom. Then there is the spunky girl. Typically, the spunky girl is married, and most people ignore the spunky girl, which is like the worst thing you guys can do. Because the spunky girl is just as beautiful as the hot girl, and I'll explain to you who the hot girl is. But she's smart. She's not gonna play into your head. So you have to mentally simulate her than being a jerk. But this is the best thing about the spunky girl. The spunky girl, once you find out she's married, if you're respectable to the spunky girl, then the spunky girl goes, oh my God, this guy is so nice. Sweetheart, you need to meet this guy. He's so adorable. He'd be great for you. Question, back there. Hold on, microphone.
Testing. Hey, how you doing? So my dilemma is there's a girl I work with. It's not like an awkward tension, but she has a boyfriend, and we kind of give each other mixed signs. The kicker is she's like an inch or two taller than me, and I'm like 5'8", 5'9", decent height.
Can you talk closer to the
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm sorry. Check.
I can hear you now.
So anyways, my question, I guess, is how do I see if I'm reading the right signs, or if she's just kind of being polite and like, you know, whatever?
Well, body language actually says a lot. And a girl can be saying no, but you can really tell by the movement of what she does. When a woman has a tendency of liking a man, she starts mimicking a lot of the same things that he's doing, because naturally it's a way of showing affection. So if you're having a conversation and you're leaning in, and she leans in to listen to what you say, that means she's into you.
It's reciprocated. Okay.
And a girl is sitting there and you're trying to flirt with her, and she's talking to you and she's like, yeah, and she's slightly but moving her head backwards, and she's kind of not giving attention. In reality, she's not into you because she's not fully giving you attention. When a woman is into you, she turns inwards towards you. So body language is extremely important. One of the things that people forget, and especially because of you're in a group and you have a whole bunch of porn stars, so naturally we're sexual. But so it's kind of hard when you're like, dude, is this girl really into me? But women, when they're into a guy, might do a slight ear adjustment. They might slightly lick their lips, because one of the signs in sexual tension is your lips. Eye contact is extremely important. So if she's actually giving you eye contact, slight brushes on your arm, leaning forward when you speak, and she's totally into you, you're gonna know those are the signs. Now, I mean, you're going after a girl with a boyfriend, so I feel bad for the boyfriend. But the piece of advice that she's into you is you feed into her a little bit and give her where you show her you kind of are interested, but back away like she's not that important and you have way more other things there. And the more that you're into other women and not giving her the focus, the more she's gonna get drawn to you. Any other questions before I continue? Okay. So we got the spunky girl. I was explaining to you that the spunky girl is important because people have a tendency of saying, oh, girl's married, she's not, I'm gonna ignore her. Guess what? I am married and I am most men's wingman. They bring me around because they know I can get and close a hot piece of ass. So just because someone's married does not mean they cannot be your best friend. Then there's the hot girl. For some reason, every guy has a tendency of going for the hottest girl. The girl who acts like a slut, that's completely out there shaking her ass and getting all your attention. The worst part about a hot girl is she's seeking you in for that purpose of attention because she's actually insecure with who she is. So she draws you in with her sex appeal, making you believe that she's gonna have sex with you. And in reality, she's playing a game so you can say, oh, you're hot, you're beautiful, you're pretty, you're this, you're that. And at the end, she's gonna say, thank you so much for buying me the drinks, and she's gonna send you on your merry little way, and $100 to $200 later, you're not getting laid, you're not getting the girl, and she just said thank you for her free drinks and dinner. So the hot girl is actually the worst girl to go after. The first girl you go after is the blogger. That's the one you become friends with. You go to the pact, you introduce yourself. And if you're uncomfortable, you're like, oh, I'm by myself, I'm just a guy. It doesn't matter if you're a group of guys. Let's say there's 3 of your friends. One of you needs to be the alpha dog, the leader of that pact. And that's the person that confronts the entire pack of women. That's the one that's going to sell the rest of the guys to come into the inner circle. That guy goes in, he flirts with the blocker, intellectually speaks to the blocker, make the blocker believe that he is there for genuine conversation and just wants to say hello. And those little pickup lines, they really don't work. Just say hello, it's perfectly fine because I'm more attracted by a hello than, hey, by the way, I think you're really hot. You already fucking know that, dude. Now give me something else that I don't know. I know it sounds rude, but hot women are so stuck up most of the time. We know that. Give us a simple conversation, and I'll tell you, one of the best pickup lines which worked, and I became absolutely best friends with this guy. And now I am his wing woman. And he's here with me in Vegas, right now partying, and I'm his wing woman the whole weekend. Which he absolutely loves, which means he'll get laid tonight. But I was in Las Vegas airport here, and I was doing a convention for diamonds. And I'm heading back early, and I get on this plane, and I'm sitting there, my plane is delayed. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. So a guy goes up to me and goes, do you know how long this flight's been delayed? And I'm like, it's already been delayed for the last 30 minutes, and he said it's going to be about another hour. So he goes, okay, not a problem. And he sits by me. And then he goes, well, since we're delayed for an hour, I'm about to go and just get a drink of something. Do you want to just me to grab you something while we're waiting? I was like, no, it's perfectly fine, it's cool. He goes, do you mind if I leave my bags here next to you? And I'm like, no, I'll wash them for you. And he walks away. He comes back, and because I was watching his bag, I sat there, and we spoke the entire time, and our flight was delayed 2.5 hours. And we talked the entire time, we started drinking. On the plane, we're totally flirting, and yes, I'm married, but I do flirt, my husband knows it, it's fine. So I'm flirting with the guy, and by the end of the flight, I'm like, here's my number. He didn't even have to ask. He didn't try. He wasn't trying to hit on me. He was just like, can you watch my bag? Do you know how long this flight's delayed? And the reason why is because he wasn't hitting on me, I was actually more comfortable in letting him into my circle that I easily gave him my number, and a year later, we're really good friends, and now I'm his wing woman. And I was wearing the ring the whole time. So guys think that the most important thing is, hi baby, you're beautiful. Or I heard something like, it was some weird polar bear joke. Do you know how much a polar bear weighs? And I seriously didn't hear that one. And hold on, what did you just say? I want to hear that from you. Enough to break the ice. And I'm like, seriously, this is what pickup lines are now? This is like the most horrible pickup lines. Every guy who ever picks me up And they do a lot. I swear, I've become really good friends with a lot of guys who pick me up because they never, ever directly come to me. They're like, they come up with some excuse. If I'm literally at a taxi, it's like, do you mind cutting in front of me? And I'm like, he lets me cut in front, and we'll start talking. And then I'm like, oh, where are you heading? Oh, I'm heading here. Oh, I happen to be going to the same place. You wanted to share a cab and split the fee. And we're like, yeah. And that honestly does work. You don't really need the pickup lines. If you're in a restaurant and people are like, okay, do you know how long we've been waiting here? Have you been here before? Do you recommend anything? When you're not directly hitting on a girl, it makes her wonder, why? What's wrong with me today? Is my outfit not cute enough that he's not giving me attention? So it draws me more into you. It entices me to wonder why you're not into me. And the more you're not into me, honestly, the more I'm into you. So it sucks. So we're gonna go back to the hot girl. So the hot girl is the worst girl to go to. Because that's the one you're never gonna get laid. You're never gonna get her number. She's gonna play you for every dollar you have. Now, if you go after the conservative girl, that's not the girl you're going to get laid by that same night. You might get a number, but that's something you got to work harder at. You're going to have to go and do little lunch dates or dinner dates and work your way into that little thing, because that girl's not giving it up so quick. So people go and say to me, Shy, so when you're going and you're setting up your girls, and the girls are doing whatever, seriously, how does a relationship work? When you meet a girl the first night, do you immediately call her? Do you wait the 48 to 72 hour rule? How do I do this? I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. If the girl's really not into you, but she gave you her number, then you better call her in 24 hours and convince her that you're something she wants, because otherwise you got no chance. Which means, never start off with, do I want to go to dinner? To say, do you want a cup of coffee? Do you want to go to a simple lunch? Because that's not a date. And then the second time you call her and you ask her to go to dinner, she's going to say, yeah, I already did lunch with him, so what's the big deal? You start with the date, she's going to say, oh, but I'm busy, I got better things to do. I had to do my hair this morning and it's going to take 4 hours. And then I got to do my nail. And then I got to go ahead and feed my cat that I don't have. It becomes 50,000 excuses. So always start off with a lunch date. Do not start off with a dinner date. It is the worst thing you can do. But another tactic that most people don't realize is they say, well, what if a girl is really into you? What do I do then? If a girl's really into you, the chances are if you immediately call her in 24 hours, she's gonna think you're soft, you're too sweet, you're too gentle. Even though 2 minutes ago she said she's looking for a really good, sweet, nice guy who's just gonna be lovey-dovey and cuddle on the couch with her, she's bullshitting you. So don't listen to it. It's completely wrong. What you need to do is you make her ass wait 72 hours, and when you call her, say, oh, hi, how are you doing? Don't make it a big deal. Like, oh, do you want to go to lunch? Don't give her the attention she wants. Make her work for it. The more she has to work, the more she's going to want you. So, now the question is, we go, but what if she doesn't answer the phone call? Do I text message her? Dude, unless you're in a relationship, you don't use text messaging, because that bitch is showing it to every single friend. Oh my God, did you see what he wrote? Should I answer him? Should I not? Is this good enough? And we really do that shit. And our girlfriends tell us whether or not we're going to answer your text message or not. And then we'll sit there and be like, okay, he's not good enough, we're just going to ignore it. So this is the rule. If she's really into you, my rule is wait 72 hours. She doesn't answer that call, don't leave her a message. Well, if you don't leave her a message, how is she going to know it's me? Trust me, we're sitting there on the phone call waiting. Oh my God, why hasn't this guy called me? We call our girlfriend. Can you call my cell phone and see if it's working? Because I've been waiting for this call and it's just not coming through. Maybe he's just busy with work and he just can't call me. We come up with 50,000 excuses on why he's not calling. If we really want you, we're going to see that number, immediately call it, and wonder if it's you. So let's say the girl doesn't call you. After that call, what do you do next? Easy. You call her again one more time. She doesn't answer that call the third time, you block your number and you don't show it to you. The block number, she answers the phone, she has no choice but to accept your date at the time because she's going to be embarrassed to say no. She's like, okay, I'll go ahead and do coffee with you. By then, you already have a coffee date, so that turns into a dinner date. And typically, most girls on a dinner date, you get a little bit loose, and if you do the right conversations, at the end of the night, you're getting laid. Because guess what? Women know the day they meet a guy when they're gonna fuck them. And if any girl says, oh, I would never say that, guess what? I can walk into a room and be like, oh, that guy is hot, and I am totally going to do him. I'm gonna make him wait 7 days, to 10 days, to 15 days, to 30 days, but I'm gonna totally do it. We know. So your job is to sit there and time it perfectly to manipulate. I think he has a question because he keeps putting his hands up. No? Okay.
Yeah. Shy. We're visual creatures. Men are visual creatures, right? So we're usually attracted to very attractive men. I want to know if women are the same thing. So what attracts you to a man? You walk into a bar.
To be honest with you, people think that my attraction has to be looks. I am not a looks kind of girl. Every single guy I've ever dated is completely opposite of the other. And after I break up with them, I wonder, why the hell was I even dating that guy? Seriously? I mean, I've dated guys that are 5 feet nothing. Little chunky little my Jewish boys. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I like my little 5 feet Jewish boys. I dated guys that are 6 feet tall, Latin, something that just looks like came out of an ad of Abercrombie Fitch. I have like no set rules on looks at all. And to be honest, what attracts me the most from me is how a guy introduces himself to me, how confident he is when he does so, and whether he can keep me sexually enticed by his intellect. But that's me. Every girl's different. I'm attracted by minds. A great mind makes my pussy wet. But I'm also a businesswoman, so for me, every time I see someone with a great mind, my pussy's wet because I'm thinking, one, sex, God, and two, I'm thinking, now that I had him sex, what business deal can I do with him next? So that's just me. But actually, I have different girlfriends, and I'm not going to say their names because I'm not going to be intrusive to their world. But I have this one girlfriend, and I swear to God, every time she dates a guy, she likes guys that are aggressive, very forward, and control her. I have another girl that likes very submissive men because she likes to control them. What you need to learn, the most important, is to read a woman and how she is to determine what she's looking for. And the problem is when you look at a hot girl, you assume, oh, she's hot, she's just looking for some rich guy who's just gonna pamper her. Guess what? I got my own money. I don't need a rich guy. You better give me something else. So you gotta figure out whether your girl is broke or whether she's sitting there and she's not. But I don't know, to be honest, I like intellect. My girlfriends, I have one girlfriend that her thing is, she can tell by the way a guy dances whether he's gonna be great in bed. So and she loves one night stands, loves it. And she bases her relationships on how they dance on the floor and goes, that's the guy I'm fucking tonight. So if you don't know how to dance, you better learn it because there are girls that base sex on how you dance. Any other questions? So we're gonna go over a few things. So we now know you have the pack, and the first person you have to penetrate is the blocker. The blocker becomes your best friend. She's gonna introduce you to every single one. Now there's a problem with the blocker. What if no matter what you do, the blocker doesn't like you? And she's just not letting you in the circle. That's when you're gonna meet your friend. You ever heard the saying, you gotta take a grenade for the team? Do you know what that means? Anybody know what taking the grenade means? You know. Now I feel bad for the guy who has to take the grenade, but that means you're fucking the ugly girl so that you can get to the rest of the team. So I'm gonna advise you to travel in a pack, and every one of you switch every single day. One, this guy, hold on. So you're gonna switch. One day this guy gets the hot girl, this one gets the conservative, and this one gets the blocker. That means every guy in this room is sleeping with a really ugly chick. I'm sorry, but you gotta take one for the team. Because you can't get through just with your personality and her liking you, then you're gonna have to make her feel sexy and you're gonna have to fuck an ugly girl. But that might be your thing, so I don't know. So, there's a few things I like to discuss even more. So we have the blockers and everything else. And then I'm gonna discuss wingmen. Wingmen are the most important thing in going out with the boys. And I'm gonna give the boys a piece of advice. If you've never hung out with a guy before you go and make him your wingman, say, why don't we just go into a normal night and just chill with the boys so you can actually see how he behaves. Because a wingman can be your best friend or your worst enemy. That means if your wingman is literally rude and obnoxious, then the girl's not going to give you the time of the day, because if you're hanging with him, the chances are you're just as rude as he is. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So I'm with my girlfriend, and I'm going to reiterate, I am married, but I am such an evil person that I love going to these clubs, and I love meeting men, I love speaking to them, and I love fucking with your heads. It's amazing. So I do a lot of my research based on actually, me personally, testing it out on theories with every single one of you. And you just don't know I'm doing. So I'm with my girlfriends, and we're at the club, and there's this really great guy that I'm speaking to. The conversation is absolutely amazing. And I'm just totally into him, and I'm ignoring the world, and I'm just, oh yeah, seriously, I can't believe you're into that business. We're talking business and everything else. And then his wingman comes up. Now, and everybody knows me, I'm in the entertainment business and porn. And women don't really have as much control and power as men do. So unfortunately, we have to, where men in business are, when they're an asshole, they're great businessmen. When a woman does business, we're bitches. It can't be that we can be great businessmen, we're just bitches. So we have to be absolutely aggressive in what I do in business. So we're discussing my business, which is, I love entertainment, I love porn, I love sex. So we're discussing it, and he goes, I don't understand why a woman needs to act like she's a man in order to make it in this world, and he's consistently just attacking me. And I would have totally told the guy who was next to me I had the perfect girlfriend, because I really did have my girlfriend next to him that I thought she would love him. And by the time the guy kept pushing, I just don't understand why you gotta be so aggressive and why you have to be so this way in business. You should just be yourself and just be very feminine and everything else. I was so aggravated, and I was like, can you both just leave? So the first guy would have actually got the girlfriend that I would have sent him home with. But because the other guy was an asshole, I didn't want to deal with it. Now the guy came back and he apologized. And he goes to me, I'm so sorry for my friend. It was very respectable and nice and sweet. But then I was over it, and he lost his chance of getting the right girl. But I'm going to give you another example of different things. So I went to Mexico. I tell my husband, I just need to be alone for 4 days. I really didn't need to go. I didn't need to do research for this book. But I couldn't tell my husband the truth. Hey, by the way, I'm going to go to Mexico, and I'm going to test out my therapies. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice with her. Okay, sorry. The choices of losing my voice is not so good. So I go to Mexico, and I'm all by myself. So I'm sitting by the pool, and I'm watching girls be stupid, getting drunk and acting like damn whores. Just because you're hot does not mean you can do half the girls with 3 vodka tonic. And I wanted them to give me attention because I needed guinea pigs. They didn't realize they were my guinea pigs. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, just sit next to me, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about tipping anybody else. I have the bartenders. So we have the bartenders and I have the girls sitting next to me. So I want to see what the guys do around them with the hot girls. So I end up, that morning, I met this guy, and it's so funny, and I'm dead serious on the guys that I met. So it was a group of 3 guys that were best friends in college, and one was a Texan, the other one was an Indian guy from Dubai, which was very weird. The other guy was this very sexy ass Latino that I was like, oh my God, if I wasn't married, I'd do you now. So I meet the Texan and he's like, well, why don't I have drinks with you later? So the Texan shows up while I'm with the girls. And I tell them, I think that you should listen to me on picking up these women. No, we got this, we got this. I'm like, okay, you got this, I'm gonna see what you can do, baby. So they're sitting there, and they're coming on to the girl. The Texan comes on so goddamn strong, because he's drunk and acting like a fool. And he's like, oh my God, you're so hot, we're in Mexico. We should just consider having like a one-night stand. I'm like, you just met this girl, you're already asking her for a one-night stand, you don't even know her. That's a perfect introduction. Let me fuck you right now. Who says that? The Indian guy kept going and immediately, the moment he met the girls, touching her. Guess what, guys? Unless I know you, don't put your hands on me unless I say it's okay. I'm like, why would you do that? The Spanish guy spent his entire time speaking to me and just being very nonchalant and respectable. The girls got so aggravated, within like 5 minutes, they get up and they're like, it was a pleasure meeting you, Sean, but we can't be in a circle. We have to leave. So I go to the girls and I apologize and I'm like, here's a few drinks on me. I apologize that these guys are jerks. I just met them and I actually told them the story of what I was doing and they were laughing. So the guys come up to me and they're like, Shy, so what you said, so what we did didn't work. So what's gonna work? I said, well, there's this little club downstairs and we're gonna go down to it. And you're gonna listen to everything I tell you to do from this point forward, whether you like it or not. So I tell the first guy, approach the hot girl. He goes, why? I'm like, approach the hot girl. So he starts approaching the hot girl, dancing with the hot girl, grabbing up all her, kicked out of the group. They kicked him out in 2 seconds. Tell the other friend, go after the conservative girl. So he goes after the conservative girl and actually says, do you mind if I dance with you? And the girl's like, okay, not a problem. So they're dancing, everything's going well. But then his stupid self starts touching her and the blocker comes in and says, you can't touch her, you gotta go away. So I was like, okay, so there's a new batch of girls coming in. I'm like, can you handle this the way I tell you to do it? I'm like, yes. I'm like, go to the blocker, say hello, and say if they want to have a drink, keep it simple, tell them where you're from, don't try to come on to them, and walk away. They're like, you want me to just say hi, whatever, and walk away? I'm like, yes, walk away. The guy goes up, speaks to the girls, introduces himself, and walks away. And the girl had no idea what the hell just happened. 5 minutes later, the girl confronts him at the bar and says, do you want to go and dance? Why? Because she had no idea why he would say hello and then walk away like she's nothing. That night, the guy got laid. The Texan, who kept talking about sex the entire night, I told him, do me a favor, stop talking about sex, be genuine, show who you really are. I'm like, I have a girl, this is the girl you're gonna go to the entire time. You do not talk about sex. You don't talk about how much you want to prime with her. Just sit there and be like, hi, this is me, I'm on vacation, and I just wanted to say hello. That guy has now been in a relationship for 6 months with the girl. Because he took my advice, and the girl actually thought he was absolutely adorable. And they spent the entire evening talking. Did he get laid that night? No. He got laid about a week, 2 weeks later. He emails me and says, I cannot believe it. I finally got the girl. Now the Indian guy ended up going home alone because he didn't want to listen to my rules and kept touching and grinding and doing his shit. I told him so. So 3 of the 2 guys that followed my rules on ignoring women, never bluntly saying, I want you, not making her feel like she's important, actually ended up getting the girl. And why is that important? Because guess what? We want what we can't have. If we can have you so easily, we're bored out of our minds, like, okay, I just got him, so give me the next project. The harder we gotta fight for you, the more we want you. The more you say no. My husband says no to me about sex, and I'm sitting here trying to take his pants down in the kitchen because he keeps telling me no. We like to hear no because no makes us feel like we have to work harder. What?
How do you keep them then?
How do I keep a man?
How do you keep them if you've done what you have said, and then
The trick of keeping a woman is never to fully give yourself 100%. If a woman feels that the relationship is very easy and it just flows too perfectly, we get bored. We like projects and things we need to fix. I'm not saying we want something broken. Hold on, I can't hear the question. Microphone? Hold on.
it's always a game, basically.
Unfortunately in life, relationships are always a game. And at the end, it's who wins it. And I know it really sounds bad. That doesn't mean that in a game, you cannot truly fall in love. But unfortunately, women have a tendency of being drawn to things that you would never expect, especially the hotter they are, the more difficult they get. So what you need to do is, unfortunately, and pardon me for saying this and pardon my language, you need to fuck with their heads and make them believe that they're nothing and teach them that without you, they will not survive. And you have to do it in a respectable manner where you're not a jerk, but in a way that makes them understand that you're not going to take their crap. And the more that you're against going on top of them and saying they're beautiful and pretty and kissing their butts all the time, the more they're going to want you because they're wondering what is going on. Now let's say you really love this girl and you really want to work a relationship. You're like, how do I do this because I don't want to continue playing the game? My advice to you is show her that you love her, but guys do it sometimes far-fetched beyond the norm. You can give a girl attention and show her that you love her without being next to her 24 hours a day. Because when a guy is next to a girl and it's like, oh, I missed you in a text message, or they're calling all day long, or let's go out every day this weekend, that gets us bored. Don't bother us all the time, and then we're gonna wonder, why is he only giving me a Tuesday night? Am I not that important that I can't get a Friday or Saturday night? No, you're not that important. Friday, Saturday nights for me to pick up the next batch, and your Tuesday night, then I need to work and make sure that you're good enough to take a Friday night. But most people don't realize that. So what you do is you wean your way into the relationship. You go, instead of giving her 7 days a week, give her 2 days a week. Because if you're not truly available to her, she's gonna keep wanting to spend time with you. And let's say you spend an entire week with her, do me a favor, after that week, take a break for another. Because then she's gonna get too comfortable in it and think she has you wrapped around her pinky, and you're gonna be the little sucker toy that she's gonna play with. And how do I know that? Because guess what, I'm a woman and I do the same shit. Any other questions? He has a question. Who has a question? Right there.
Once she's in
Hold
love,
on.
Do those games change once she's in love with you?
The reason why she's in love with you is because she thinks she can't have you 100%. So you can never, you know what's so funny? I'm gonna give you an example. I'm married and I've been married for 9 years. Well actually I've been married since 2010, but I've been with the same guy for 9 years. It's weird. But I'm married to my husband, and what attracts me the most to my husband is My husband will take off for like 4 or 5 weeks on his business trips, and then he comes home. And I swear, 9 years later, 2 kids later, I'm still dating my husband. I am not married to him. And I think the problem with people is that they assume that because you're married and you become a mother, that that's what you are. A mother doesn't define you, and a marriage doesn't define you. You being a woman and a man defines you. If you forget that you're a woman and you're a man, then that relationship's never gonna work. And what works for him and I is, he takes off for weeks, and it makes me want him, and I love the fact that he's not on top of me all the time, and it makes me wonder if I'm really working hard and if I'm keeping him enticed into the relationship. So it makes me work harder for him. But when he was next to me, which he took like a 2-month break and stayed home every day with me, I was at the point where I'm like, honey, I'm sorry, I love you to death, but you please need to go on another trip and get the hell out of here. Because if not, I'm not going to be able to handle this relationship. And the reason why is when 2 people are together all day long, it doesn't work. You got to give yourself the separation to grow and be better, and have that want and that long to get next to each other. And I think the problem with most men and women is that when they get into this genuine relationship and they're falling in love, they believe that the way of showing love is to text message each other and phone call each other and be around each other all day. That's just a recipe for disaster, and you're going to break up within a few months and you can say goodbye. Any other questions? Okay, so we're going to go to the next thing. How much time do I have left, so I know?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. So, we're talking about relationships. I know that it sounds weird to say that in a relationship you're consistently playing games. And it really sounds bad, but how many of you play games in your business to make it grow every day? Raise your hands, honestly. So you have quite a few that play games in your business to make it succeed. A relationship is a business. There happens to be emotions attached to it, but it's a business. Why would you treat a relationship any different than any other business and asset that you have? If you're trying to close a deal with someone, do you let them know you really want it? Or do you sit there and act like their company is that important so you can get a better deal on the business to buy them out? You make it seem like it's not that important so you can close a cheaper deal and get the product you want. Why wouldn't you do the same with a girl? Every relationship is a business deal. Because guess what? Let's say you do get married, she's getting 50% of your shit anyway, so you might as well make it a business deal from the get-go. Not saying that there can't be love. I truly do love my husband. I really, 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 really do. But in our relationship, we really do treat it no different than we treat our businesses, but we give ourselves some love and emotion attached to it. Let's see what other parts of this book that I want to talk. This book is so interesting. I really loved it. It made me like absolutely hilarious when I wrote it. You know what? I'm going to go into online dating because that's become actually a really big thing lately. And I have a lot of friends doing online dating. They're like, how do you do online dating? Personally, I'm not into online dating because half the crap you guys write is full of shit. I'm tired of you like sunrises and you like to just have a girl that makes you happy and laugh. Guess what? We all want somebody that makes us happy and laugh. We all like sunrises. We all like to walk on the beach too. Give me something that's honestly true about yourself, and that'd be a lot more enticing than the bullcrap in between. So people go, how do you do online dating? Online dating is important, and the reason why online dating is important is, first of all, your photo is the most important thing in online dating. So guys who want to sit there and be all buff and rough, and I'm gonna not wear my shirt and be like, yo, I'm macho on online dating, that just makes me think that you're on steroids, and I don't want someone that's dumb but beautiful. So you can take that picture and shove it somewhere else because I'm gonna hit next. So as much as you think girls are looking for that, we're not. I have people, I've seen them with online dating, and they put pictures of themselves and they got like 4 hot chicks next to them that are their girlfriends. Guess what? That makes you look like a player and I'm not wasting my time. Or a guy will put pictures and all his pictures is him with his friends and there's a drink in the hand. Don't get me wrong. I love to drink, I know, because I have 4 bottles of Moët Chandon last night. And no, I was not wasted, but I love to drink. But in every single picture, there's an alcoholic drink in your hand. That's just gonna make you look like you're a drunken fool all the time, and most women don't want to deal with it. So don't put any pictures with alcohol in your hands. It's better just to keep the pictures very simple. And then people say, well, what do I write in these things? Be honest. And I don't want honest, I just dated a horrible bitch, so I don't want someone that's rude. Because guess what? That just makes it seem like you have a lot of baggage on you and we're going to ignore you. So what do you write? What you write is, listen, I'm a nice guy. These are the things that I like. And please, guys, please stop with the I like camping and hiking and all that crap. Don't get me wrong. I like that. But how many women look like me, like to go camping and hiking and want to be all macho and shit? So if you want to go and have a girl that looks like you, then go ahead and talk about your hiking. Go talk about your camping. Go talk about doing all your other stuff that you do. You can talk about those particular hobbies very small, like in a little sentence. I particularly like camping or I like fishing, but you don't make it a big deal. But what is a big deal is the other things in your life. Girls actually do pay attention to what movies and shows and books you read. So if you go to a girl and you're like, oh my God, like one of my favorite books is by Dan Brown, The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons. I love those books. And if I wrote that in my stuff and a guy goes, oh my God, I read the book, it was absolutely amazing, I saw the movie, and the movie was not as good as the writing. That would make me go, oh my God, the guy actually read a book. And I would be like, I would agree with you, the movie was not as good as the writing, and we'll start a conversation where I won't ignore you because you found something I'm interested in speaking about. If you have a movie you like, say I like the movie, and it's okay to like girly movies. It's okay to like action movies, but don't go and talk about all day long, well, I like The Sopranos, and I like, you know, every mafia movie, because that just makes it look like you're one-sided and that you have nothing else to offer. Find things that these women want to talk about and sending a girl an online message, you're beautiful, I like you, I think you should talk to me, that's going to make them ignore you. Send them a message, look at their online database, see what they actually like, and only speak about those things so she has to answer you because she actually likes the conversation. Question? 5 minutes? I have 5 minutes, so is there any questions that anyone wants to ask me directly about dating or any of the manipulation tactics on how to manipulate a woman?
Can you give us some advice on making threesomes happen?
Yeah, that's easy. So if you have a girlfriend and you really want a threesome, first rule of threesome, don't make it a girl you know. Make it in a place, on a vacation, that way you fuck the girl and you never have to see her again and your girl's not gonna be jealous. So how do you do it? You never instigate it, because if you're asking for it, the chances are she's going to think this, you want another piece of ass and she's not hot enough for you, so she's going to say no automatically. So what you do is you insinuate the comfort, you allow them to play. So what you do is you say, here's some alcohol, let's party. Leave the whole night, very simple. Make it seem like you do not care about the threesome. Get them drunk, have some fun. Let them kiss. You at no point ever try to instigate a kiss or even get yourself involved. Trust me, an hour later of drinking and kissing another girl, she's gonna be hot and she's gonna say, babe, I know I've never said this before, but let's just do this because we never have to see her again. And the rule is, and I know it sounds really funny, only look your girl in the eye, do not look the other girl in the eye. because there are rules of threesomes. Second, do not give the other girl more time than your girl. Make sure there's enough attention on her. And third, even if your girl says it's okay to come inside her because you're wearing a condom, do never come inside another girl. Give that to your girl because she'll say it's okay. It is not. Any other questions? So there's no more, oh, there's a question here? Okay, hold on. Who was the question over here? Someone raised their hand, okay. It was him?
It wasn't, but I'll grab one. What about, you mentioned, I just came in when you were talking about the blocker. So,
The what?
The blocker.
The blocker,
girl.
okay.
Suppose you're, like myself, you're by myself. Is it possible for a single guy to approach the group of girls? And how do you tell, again, who the blocker is?
Okay. First, I'm going to give you exactly how to tell who every girl in the category is, so that makes it easy. If you're by yourself, I would just gently say, approach and just say hello. Keep it simple, don't go beyond that. The blocker usually is the one that seems like the protector. She's the one that you can tell, she's the alpha dog, the one that every girl listens to, and you know she's in control because when she walks in, wherever she at, it's being catered to her, and the girls are following. That's the blocker. That's the alpha dog, the one who controls the group. So that's how you're gonna know who she is. The conservative girl is the one, she's very pretty, very cute, but you'll notice that she doesn't dress to show off. She's kind of like shy in her own skin, so she'll hide more of who she is, and you'll be like, I wonder why she's with them, because she's not even really dressed like them, and she's pretty conservative. That's the conservative girl. The spunky girl is usually, the spunky girl is usually the one that's next to them, who's just as hot as the hot girl, but you'll notice that she really doesn't care about anything around her. She's just more about looking, watching, hearing, and making her decisions that way. So you'll see that spunky girl talking to her friends and just looking around, and it's more of a people watcher. And the hot girl you can't miss because she's the one acting like a slut. It's very easy. And the approach is, if you're by yourself, go for the conservative girl or the blocker first. Leave the rest alone. Because a conservative girl is going to be too shy to shush you away. She's going to be too scared to say, please don't talk to me. She's going to be very sweet and nice, and she's going to engage in your conversation. That's the girl that you need to just sit there and be very nice and sweet and keep a simple conversation with her. And as long as you're being nice to her, the blocker won't kick you away. Because she'll see that if the girl was uncomfortable, she would push you away, or she would make a judgment of movement. So typically the blocker or the shy girl or the conservative girl is the best girls to go first for. And even though you don't want her, it doesn't matter. You might have the hot girl or the spunky girl in your view, but if the quiet girl and the blocker likes you, you'll get the girl you want at the end anyway. Any other questions? Oh, another one here.
When do you admit that you're seeing other women?
In my opinion, any relationship that begins should never be monogamous. Because you don't know her, and I'm sorry, you do not buy the cow before you try the milk. And if a girl thinks otherwise, then she's dumb. You never give up the other girls you're dating just because you started seeing a girl. Usually, monogamy comes in and you'll discuss it when you're ready for it. But depending on the guy, some guys want monogamy within 30 days because they're totally into a girl. Some guys can date a girl for 6 months and not want to be monogamous. But unless a guy tells you, by the way, we're monogamous, a girl should never assume. And that means it's an open relationship until you say so, and you do not push the other assets you have on the side until you know what you have is guaranteed. Any other questions? So I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that I said. I actually do have the book available for sale, which will be in the back. They're $20, and I will autograph them, and I'll be there for a few minutes if anybody wants to get the book.